Hello and welcome to another Baggy's Beers, Wines and Spirits review. Today I'm going to be reviewing this fella, if you can see it anyway. Norcotts Cider, a refreshing pear cider made in the heart of the West Country, 4.5% and brought from Christmas International last year. No, the Christmas, yeah, I think it's called that. The Cake International do a show at the end, Birmingham's NEC for cake enthusiasts and cake makers, but there's also a Christmas fair there, which is where this is from. 3 for £12 I think I paid, so £4 a bottle. And then there's like a needle cotton thing going off, which I wasn't bloody interested in. Had a few samples while I was there, not too many because I was driving. Wife always gets me to drive to these things so she can browse, and she's fresh faced and I'm like walking around half knackered. But yeah, I bought 3 of these. I bought a raspberry and orange and balls. Can't remember what the other variety was. It might have been elderflower. Or was it grapefruit? I think it was actually grapefruit cider. So we'll pour this out, see how it cooks. Obviously we are in lager and cider weather, you know, and golden ales, pale ale weather. And obviously rose wine and white wine weather. As my wife's friend found out last night when she between them they drank 2 litres of my homebrew wine. Yes, and rather abbreviated one of them was. So on the nose, wow, quite a strong twang of pear on the nose, and alcohol, straw coloured pour, no head, or remnants of like a thin lacing, a thin film of head, and good lacing around the edge. Right. See what this compares to. There's a pear taste to it, and then there's a twang in the back end. That's my dog. He's looking, he says, "What's Dad doing?" Oh, I'll tell you what, I've been out in the sun all day. I've had a fairly cushy job actually. Since 6 o'clock this morning I've actually just been watering. So you water, you go back to the yard, you fill it with water, so you're waiting like 10 minutes for it to fill, back out, water, and repeat all the way through the day. The people I work for, they decided to put meadow flower seed down in the middle of a drought. Now, as a gardener, I queried this because it is, when there's a drought going on, to try and grow anything is a very hard thing. In greenhouses they have got mist systems to create humidity, to bring things on at a faster rate, you know, but when it's in the open you've got to be watering by the bucket load, and I do mean excessively watering. That, you know, you would put X amount of water on normally, you would be putting 10 times that on in this weather just to keep the ground damp. And then the sun, and the plant takes its food, the sun takes some of the water, and that's how it works. And yeah, so I'm fighting a losing battle. But ayo, 1, I'm getting paid. 2, it's a bit boring if I'm being honest. But it keeps me going, I suppose, until new things are on the horizon. And with any luck, Monday will be a pathway to whatever is new out there for me. And if not, well, I'll just carry on. It's that thing, isn't it? You never know. Can't count your chickens. I never count my chickens before they're hatched. I do know that if I'm offered, I will 100% take. And I've done this before where I've applied for jobs and I've applied. See, I looked on Indeed, you see a job, you think, oh, that sounds interesting. So you click on it, you apply, and then I'm weighing up the job. I'm looking at the pros, the cons, because you look at pros and cons. Obviously, as much as you don't want to be as much as you don't want to be dominated by money, money does make a difference. Money is a factor, but the job you're doing and what you're getting out of the job matters so much, because in any world, when you go to work, that's a third of your life. If it's 8 hours a day, it's a third, you know, obviously not counting weekends. So it's a third of your life, and you need to be in a job where you're enjoying what you're doing, you're having a laugh, you're talking, enjoyment. It all makes such a difference. And it is something I've learned from the last 11 months, is that is so important. It doesn't matter what you're working on, really. If you're working with a good friend, and I had a great friend in my last job, and we got on so well, had each other's backs. She did do my head in at times, but always on the bloody phone, and she had a few tantrums, but that's women for you. Not all women, obviously. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I too got my own issues. You know, anxiety has plagued me. Can't beat it. So, and with all mental health issues, you know, doing what you do, if you're not happy and you are suffering, and you see a pathway to a new future, you know, taking that jump is a good one. I mean, I know for me that in years to come, either working for myself, or if I was lucky enough to win money on the lottery, setting up a brewery or working for a brewery is the path that I want to progress to. But at the moment, obviously, I love gardening as well, and if you love a role, some people love retail. I mean, I did when I was there, 5 years in Sainsbury's. I absolutely loved the beers, wines and spirits department, because it's a bloody interesting department, and some of the bargains, oh dear. And a new beer or wine comes out, it's like, oh, you know, we were like kids. Every time we're looking at the new items coming on sale, it's like, oh, we've got Desperados, wow. What did we do? Put it on the shelf. We've got a bottle each of Desperados, you know, to take home and sample. I could have sworn I had a bottle somewhere. I must have reviewed it already. But yeah. Anyway, back to the Pear Cider. We're 8 minutes in. Other beer reviewers have done and dusted in 8 minutes. Then again, to be honest, I've never watched another another beer review from anybody else. I've watched about a few seconds, I looked and I thought, yeah, I can see what angle they're going at. But I've never watched, so I don't know what other people do. My inspiration was the bloke who, I don't even know his name, who does Real Ale Craft Beer or whatever it is. Real Craft Ale Beer, I don't know. And he's obviously getting a lot of see, this weather and the lockdown, a lot of people are flocking to YouTube, so his subscriber amount has gone up exponentially. But also he was on BBC as well, which helps matters for him. Although I don't know if I'd want to be on TV. Just be careful what you say, wouldn't you? Yeah, at the moment I'm alright, I can say what I like. But I suppose when you get to a certain stage, you've got so many people following you, you've got to be a bit clever with what you say, because you say something that you shouldn't say, you get yourself into a bag of trouble. So there's always that. But then again, free speech should be a thing, shouldn't it? It does, you know, you should be allowed to say within reason what you think. Obviously, in the world we're in, you do have to keep away from religion. I mean, let's be fair, religion through the years has caused more wars than anything. So, you know, I'm not religious, don't care for it, don't want to know. I believe there may be a God, but that's as much as it goes. And other than that, no, I'm not bothered. I look at some of the churches in this country and you hear stories where children have been molested and you think, and you people are men of God. Yeah, okay. If a man of God touched my kid, he won't be touching anybody else's kids. But yeah. Yes. Yeah, I better not say too much. Oh, so we look at the world of pear ciders. Copperberg's pear cider is like, you get your tin of pears, take the pears out, you got the juice, add alcohol, and that is Copperberg pear cider. For me, probably the best pear cider in the world, but that's my taste buds. And this is just something we must always remember. We're all very different in our taste buds. What we like, what we don't like. And hay fever. And then you've got standard pear ciders that are basically normal ciders with a hint of pear. You know, like traditional pear ciders, not a fruit pear cider. And that's where this fella sits in. This to me is a traditional pear cider, not a fruit pear cider. When you think, oh for God's sake, I'm going to sneeze again. When you think of pear ciders, like Copperberg pear cider is definitely a pear cider. Traditional pear ciders, Magners, Strongbow, Bulmers, they're all on that side. I don't know if there is a Strongbow pear cider. There's definitely a Magners and Bulmers. They're certainly on the traditional side. This fella in that traditional zone. But like always, a lot of people like the fruity stuff. A lot of people like the more traditional apple based and pear based ciders. This is one of those that is definitely in the traditional zone. It's definitely got more character to it. You've got the pear, you've got the twang of different flavours going off, and whether it's pear mixed with apple, I don't know. I've got the worst throat now because of sneezing. And let's be fair, you could have coronavirus. I could have coronavirus now, not know. It's so crazy, isn't it? I mean, at least when you've got bloody measles or chicken pox, yeah. Oh God, I've got chicken pox, you know. The day when tests come out that you just, I don't know, piss on or take a bit of blood, I don't know, or saliva, and straight away you know. I mean, these tests will be invaluable to us all, won't they? You want like a 4-stage test. Have you had or got coronavirus? Have you got antibodies that are okay? There was something else, but I forgot. But you get the gist. It's Friday afternoon. I'm knackered. I've had 2 hours of looking after a little baby, and I'm not in the what's the word? I'm not used to it. And I mean, it's good to see him. And it's funny because when he hadn't seen us for 8 weeks, you know, and it was tough. You know, it was tough for him. You could see it. What we were doing video calls to each other, and he'd come to the camera. He'd want to see you. But then he'd walk off doing his own thing, and as soon as you say you were going, he was like back to the camera. And then the day we went up, and yeah, we were naughty. Boris says, only one of you can go up. Well, tough, you know. We both went up, both me and my wife. And we seen him, and it was wow. And he couldn't believe his granny and granddad were there. And his expressions and his love was bloody heartbreaking. I mean, I didn't cry, but I'll tell you what, flipping heck, I was close. Because as hard as it is for you, as an adult, for a child, I mean, we can understand the situation the world is in at the moment, but for a child, they don't understand anything. It's like, why are they not there? And my wife used to look after him 3 days a week. It's gone from 3 days a week to nothing. And obviously there's a bond between me and the little fella, but my wife, there's a massive bond, because she's his second mum, basically. And you know, and this is going around the country and around the world, really. There's a lot of this going off. And I mean, for people who've lost parents, for babies that have lost parents, wow, you know, especially if those parents were perfectly healthy beforehand and worked probably in the health service or care service, you know, it must be, it's a heartbreaking world. And you know, you would hope that there were good families supporting the young at these times. And anyway, phew. I flipping out and get myself all emotional. So yeah, definitely a good traditional pear cider. 17 minutes, Jesus Christ, I do rattle. And like always, everything I say, I don't always straight down the road. I don't say stuff that's not real or anything like that, you know. Don't really need to. I don't know anybody who's watching this, you know, it's not my friends watching this. And if they watched it, they'd know anyway. And some things really strike a chord. So yeah, so for me, straw coloured, a thin film of white head, sporadic lacing, pear on the nose, pear on the taste, but with a twang. It's like for me, it's like a pear cider, but with apple as well. Definitely a traditional based cider. And interesting, you know, in the olden days I was more of a fruit cider fan than more traditional cider, but these days, as my palate has grown, I'm okay with both of them. So yeah, you know, if you like your traditional ciders, you'll love this. If you like your fruit ciders, it's an interesting one to take in. You know, you might like it, you might not, but like all beers, it's an experience, you know, and that's where we've got to go. So for me, it was an okay cider. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a top 10 cider, but well worth trying. You know, if you ever go in, if you ever see this, they normally do the show circuit, you know, like NEC and all that. And you know, you will pay a premium. You do all these. You do pay a premium because they've got to pay for the store, and they're not going to sell it for £1 a bottle because, you know, you're not going to make enough money to survive. And that's the understandability that, you know, you need to have. yeah, I don't like paying £4 a bottle either, but it's just the way it is. 5 for me, very much based in the traditional area, and as a Pear Cider, it's nice. It's not what I like. That Copperberg one that I like, that is the pinnacle, because not because it's just a fruit based cider, because it is pear out of the tin, and yeah, so 4.2 out of 5, and I better go up the house because the wife's phoned. Cheers.